Today in the crypto space, we see Bitcoin taking a nosedive, down approximately 7%, hitting the $95,000 mark, and Ethereum below the $3,000 level, down approximately 10%, while the rest of the crypto space, the altcoins, double-digit dips everywhere. Guys, in today's video, I want to talk about the general market. I want to use Bitcoin as a leading indicator, and I want to focus on Bitcoin. What is going on with the heavyweight? How low could we go? Are we going to find the bottom? Guys, we're going to do our best to talk about this. So you know what? Let's talk about the news. Let's analyze the charts. And let's strategize to capitalize. Welcome to the channel. My name is Mike, and let's get right into it, guys. If you're new to the channel, welcome. On the channel, we talk about cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and all the altcoins. Looking for opportunity, whether we go up or down, bearish or bullish, it doesn't matter. All we want to do is stay one step ahead of the market so that we can capitalize on any of the volatility. And if you appreciate the strategy, subscribe to the channel, click the bell so you don't miss out on any of my future videos, including these live streams or the live streams at 8 p.m. EST where we talk about crypto news and price action. Guys, if you have any projects you want me to cover here on the channel, feel free to let me know in the comment section below. You can hit me up on the socials. The links are in the description. Better yet, guys, join the Discord. The Discord is where it's at. Lots of good alpha, trade setups, fundamentals, and learning material. The best part is it's absolutely free. All right, guys, let's begin. Let's see what we got going on here because the market cap is slowly dripping. As we can see, it's down 7%, guys. $3 trillion, guys. We hit, actually, in fact, we're below the $3 trillion mark. Guys, do you remember the days where we were above $4 trillion? Wasn't it great? Guys, ultimately, we want to get back there, no doubt. And Bitcoin is trending. You know, Bitcoin is trending. I don't think it's trending from a positive perspective. I think people are searching, and it's trending because people are in disbelief to see Bitcoin hit these levels. And unfortunately, yesterday we talked about these levels. During the live streams last night, we talked about Bitcoin coming down to these zones. And guys, we hunted that liquidity right around the $85,000 mark, and now there's not much happening at lower levels. Guys, any other dips from here are going to be bigger ones because Bitcoin, if it's going to hunt those bottoms or hunt liquidity, there's liquidity, but at much lower levels, guys. 75K is the big order block where the majority of the liquidity lies around that zone. So this is the concern here. And we are seeing market participation elevate. As you can see, the trading volume has risen a little bit here, suggesting that the market is participating in the sell-off. Not a good look. It's not looking good whatsoever. And as we look at the top 100, let's do that right now. Let me just refresh real quick to make sure that we got the latest and the greatest here, guys. We want to make sure we got the most current price action. As you can see, Bitcoin coming down like that. This type of Bart Simpson now, you know, it's little by little we're going to be painting the entire face here of Bart Simpson, but as you can see, it hit targets, guys. It's down significantly. Ethereum more so, down 10% in one day. That's significant, guys. And the rest of the altcoins, they're all doing the same thing, guys. You name it. I would say the average right now, yes, is probably about 10%, maybe 9%. If you want to factor in that some of them like HBAR and a few others down 6% here and there. But look at SUI, 14.2%, guys. That's a lot. That's a lot. You know, and that's the thing, guys. We've seen projects like AVAX, like SUI, large cap projects with ecosystems and, you know, growing ecosystems, no doubt, taking big hits here. Mantle down 10%. Guys, I feel like I should be buying a little bit more here on Mantle. I want to be patient, but Mantle is coming down to a very good level where I would be happy, pleased to be buying. The same thing with Tau coming down 260. Guys, lots of dips right now. The last thing you want to do, though, is overbuy to the point that you run out of capital. That's not the intention, right? We have Near Protocol coming down, you know, maybe hits the $1 mark. That's where I'm going to be spamming some buy orders. Nice psychological level of $1. In the meantime, guys, hold steady. You know, if you're going to pepper in that capital, make sure it's nice and slow. You don't want to be that person that keeps on buying the dips, that keeps on dipping, and then you run out of capital. Aster, another one that I'm definitely watching. Guys, today I wanted to buy. I told you guys yesterday I'm going to be holding off from my weekend buys for today, and now all of a sudden we're at this level. I feel like I need to hold off even further. I don't know, guys. I don't want to try to catch a bottom here, but I definitely want to make sure that I'm, you know, not buying, you know, now where we could keep on coming down further. I think that in the short term, the majority of the dip is done. I would be surprised to see that the Asia market tonight, when I'm live at 8 p.m. EST, I would be surprised not to see the Asia market wake up and pump a little bit. to take advantage of the fire sale. We got Athena down 11.3%. These are crazy dips, right? And we're seeing the bearish response. Remember 2 days ago, actually, when was it? Friday, when on my last stream before the weekend. I told you that we got to wait for the bearish response. This is the response of which we got to make sure that if we're going to get bullish, that we see the bearish response fail. We want to see a bearish response fail. And to be honest, so far so good. I know it seems bad. I get it. But the reality is if Bitcoin does not make a lower low, it's a swing failure. It's a failed breakdown. It's a failed bearish break of structure. And that would be good. We want the failed bearish break of structure to fail. We don't want it to extend for another dip, another lower low, and another lower high, and the trend is your friend. We're done, right? I don't know about you guys, but I'm done. I want to see a reversal here. Ondo down 12% today. Guys, these dips, Caspa, okay, it is what it is. Ultimately, a lot of projects. Quant, I wasn't feeling that price action. I'm still not feeling its price action. 11.2%, guys. Be prepared for continuations to the downside. Projects that have been stable and quiet, not doing much, might still continue doing that for the next little while. Sideways price action, is the opportunity to buy into stable coins with the opportunity of a pump. I get it. But look at Aptos. Guys, one of the worst charts, one of the worst performing charts out there is Aptos. Horrible. Very, very bad chart. Not interested whatsoever at these prices until we see a proper market structure. Algorand coming down. We got a lot of dips here, guys. You pick your project. You can see that ultimately in the last, I would say, 6 months for sure, you are getting a good entry. Depending on obviously which project you're looking at, you're getting a good entry, guys. It is what it is. Now, the question is, are we buying? Now, I want to take a look at Bitcoin. But before we do that, let's talk about what's going on here. Let's talk about a bit of news. The truth is, earlier on today, actually about 17 hours ago, I posted this. Japan's 2-year bond yield hits 1% for the first time since 2008. And now, if you guys recall, a few months ago when we had the Japan issue, when they increased interest rates by a very small portion, if you guys recall what happened to the carry trade, basically on the unwinding of all the very cheap leverage, the very cheap loans that people have been getting over the years, started to feel a little bit of heat because the interest rates rised very slightly. And even a little slight increase in interest rates can affect people's bottom line. And therefore, people can't afford their loans, even if it's a little bit, right? Especially if you're so close to, a level of where you're balancing. If you're so close, even a small point, a few points of percent could affect you, right? A few basis points. Now, at the end of the day, once you see yield bonds rise, and bond yields rise, then usually it follows interest rate hike. And if that's the case, guys, we might get another hike like we did a few months back, like I mentioned, and causing more people to basically unwind on their leverage positions, meaning people that took loans with 0% interest, because that's what Japan was offering for so many years, that even another interest rate hike will cause a lot of people to feel the heat and perhaps capitulate on some of their investments, given the fact that they won't be able to afford those free loans again, right? It is what it is. So what's happening? What happens next? What happens to risk on assets? Well, we staying in tune with Japan. Japan to cut Bitcoin and crypto tax by 20%. So is there a bit of a counterbalance here? Is there something that might be bullish for crypto, but at the same time seeing, the potential interest rate hike? Guys, there's a lot of news coming out of that part of the world, out of Japan in the last little while. Then we have China basically, declaring war on stable coins. How is that going to affect, the crypto space? Obviously, any type of banning, and especially from a powerhouse country like that, could affect and cause volatility. But ultimately, I believe that it's all still noise, because Bitcoin, even still within its market structure on the 4-hour time frame, could provide some opportunity, even if it is just a bit of relief. And I'm going to align myself accordingly to that scenario. Guys, I know you're to talk about price action, so let's begin. Let's see what's going on here with Bitcoin, because ultimately Bitcoin is at critical levels. It has been at critical levels. It hasn't left the critical zone. And as you can see, as Bitcoin lingers at this level, a lot of us are questioning what happens next. Do we drop to the next level of liquidity? 75, 70K. How low do we go? Do we make a lower low and confirm a downtrend? Guys, let's take a look at this in a little bit more detail. So the worst thing here that we can see on Bitcoin is the truth is, without seeing proper extensions and proper bullish sentiment and proper bullish momentum, it leads us to believe that if the bears take the ball in their court and they are able to show a strength that is stronger than the bullish strength, meaning a lower low, guys, it could be that we're going to roll over in a bigger way here. However, in the meantime, we have to understand is that the current price action did not drop below this low. That's it. That's what we need to watch, right? Ultimately. And I know a lot of traders love their trend lines, and that's a big problem because trend lines are just visual representations. The truth about market structure is as long as we're making higher highs and higher lows, everything else is noise and manipulation. That's the truth. And as soon as we start printing below the 75,000, we have to start entertaining the possibility that it is a confirmed lower low. And the next high could be a lower high. And then the next low could be a lower low. And then we start defining this as a potential downtrend, right? Right? Depending on what happens here, right? We come down, make a lower low, lower low, higher low. And then we start rolling over. And what a beautiful distribution that would be. Wrong. It wouldn't be that good. Why? Because then we start worrying about Bitcoin's macro. We start worrying about the BLX chart, the Bitcoin chart. Ultimately, what happens to the Bitcoin chart is highly dependent on how it respects the previous bull market top. The truth is that we're very close, guys. And we cannot come down to these levels and test these levels, right? That's a very ugly place to be. We haven't seen Bitcoin ever do that without a proper extension above previous highs. We need Bitcoin to show strength. Okay, so it is what it is. Now, the reason why I wanted to talk about Bitcoin today is not to reiterate some of this stuff, because I talk about this almost every single day with you guys, because I need to keep everybody in check. But what we really need to do is go on lower time frames. But before I do that, let's just quickly look at oscillators. Guys, we've hit on the daily. Okay, let's just align this properly. The daily got oversold already. Okay, we're now confirming this as a low. This is the perfect place for that to happen in oversold conditions. We're waiting for the bearish response to come to full fruition. We got to be patient here, guys. What I'm talking about is this orange line. This orange line, every time we get here, we look for a bearish response. And unfortunately, as the momentum, the purple line is on a downtrend, as you can see, follow the yellow, which is the moving average. It's in a downtrend. Every time you would have shorted the volatility being up here, in line with the momentum being in a downtrend, guys, you would have been in a great scenario, right? Obviously shorting alongside momentum, volatility and momentum in the same direction. However, now that momentum is down here and potentially fully reset, the question is, are you going to get into fresh shorts now? And the reality is for me, absolutely not. The time to short, my short's still open. My Bitcoin short from 116 is still open. I took 50% of my profit a week ago or so, and I'm considering to close it as soon as I see a proper market structure shift. And I'm not taking any chances on those gains because I need those gains. We need those gains. However, when does that shift happen? Well, the shift happens when we get our first clues that the bears cannot sustain this trend. The trend is not a trend line. Please, guys, those gurus out there that love their trend lines, please inform yourself. Trend lines are good visual representations. But the reality is, as long as each bearish response does not make a lower low, in this case, this bearish response needs to stop trending by making another lower low. No more lower lows from bearish responses. We want a higher low. That gives us an indication that maybe they don't have enough strength to basically push through all the buy pressure, that is here, all the lingering buy orders, all the passive accumulation that might exist on limits, all the market orders that come here with aggressive buys, right? But at the end of the day, the passive accumulation here that could exist is what we want to see here. Okay, so this is very important because this is what I've been talking about a good while. You remember when I put this level in last week, I'm like, guys, I want to wait for the bearish response because this could be the V recovery where we maybe, move up and then come back down and get the higher low confirmation low. And more importantly, perhaps get into a passive accumulation range. But I want to wait for the orange line to come back down here and do not make a lower low. That's all I want. And then we're talking. That's when I start getting active, right? In the meantime, accumulating passively is okay. Spot buying, peppering in that capital via DCA very slowly, nothing aggressive, nothing risky, fair game. But make sure you keep a bit of that capital for when you see the market give you opportunity. Okay, so let's quickly get onto the 4 hour, because that's where the majority of what I'm talking about lies. This is the 4 hour structure. Let's get rid of the oscillators real quick. Let's make this a bit better and clear. As you can see, what we're really focusing on is this downtrend. This was the uptrend from here, legacy uptrend, sideways price action, transition from bullish to bearish. We got bearish, and we're currently at this order block right here at the $75,000, $80,000 zone. The reason why lately I've been talking about 75, because literally 75 is the last bottom. That's the last level. We are currently at a very good level for a bottom, guys. I'm just going to throw that out there. This is a perfect level for a potential bottom, right? Not coming down here would leave a lot of people left behind, people that want to get in on best risk to reward ratios. It's possible that we do come down, right? But imagine getting a proper bottom. So what I'm going to be doing in the next little while is being very selective on my trades, only lower time frames trades for me, focusing on accumulation and accumulation based on the structure that could be playing out right here. Let's zoom in a little bit. Okay, as you can see, what I'm focusing on is here. And today I posted this little rounded bottom here because I'm like, okay, we need a bit of hopium. Those bowls of hopium are very useful right around now, because once you get to be recovering, then you get profit taking with a clear manipulative move right here. Guys, this was a perfect short, by the way. And then all of a sudden we start coming down. It would be nice at this level to to realize that whoever's left potentially is suffering from a bit of PTSD from this dip. And the likelihood is that if those some individuals happen to go long here, they're round tripping. And number two, if people went long right here, they got trapped. And right now, there's a lot of people right now, holding their breath, waiting for the next move and not looking for fresh leverage longs because, again, PTSD exists. There was a lot of liquidity here that got hunted on this flush. There was a lot lingering liquidity here. So now all of a sudden that was taken and we bought the dips and all those buy orders got filled. Could we actually go for another attempt to go for another higher high? I say yes. However, the invalidation is if we break below this low, it's a break of structure, which means that the bears did confirm that they have enough strength to maintain the trend, which is lower lows and lower highs, right? A lower high, another lower low, lower high, another lower low. Again, continuation. However, if we can make a higher low and start breaking above here eventually, guys, things start to change. Why? Because we really haven't done that in a big way. And at a good critical level, like down here, right around the previous bottom, would be an ideal place for that to happen as a double bottom scenario, even for a bit of relief. I'm not talking about price discovery. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. But we have to be aware that there's a lot of people, trapped liquidity right into here, people that want to go short or basically sell. And in order for it to come down, we need to come up and see these bulls come up and take this and to higher levels and see if this sell pressure that's into this level can push the price down, push the price down, and push the price down. If it cannot, guys, it might be a bullish attempt. And if the bullish attempt eventually creates that reversal, guys, we're cooking. However, we need this final evidence here to show us a proper market structure shift, a change of character. There is none yet. Potentially, it looks good, right? That we're not making a lower low yet. What does the Asia market have in store? What happens, maybe with the UK open overnight? Do we get a continuation down, a flush of these bottoms down to 70K? Guys, this is all very possible. The reality is this is very immature price action. There's not enough. Last time we did something like this, we came down for the lower low. It doesn't have to happen now. There's low volume, guys. Look at the lack of volume on all of this. And we're behaving like it's a crazy event. There's not much happening here. It didn't even really register on the volume profile. We've had bigger volumes spikes into this zone. Point of control was achieved here. Okay, so we have to understand that maybe a few major players are unloading and causing this manipulative move. And I know there's a lot of, foil hat thesis that could be correct. The MicroStrategy, the, JP Morgan, the this, the that, the attack on Bitcoin and Trump and this. Guys, there's a lot. And all of it is possible. That's not what I'm about here, guys. I don't really trade news. I like to know about it. I like to understand what forces are at play. But the truth is, if I can make a higher low here and break this top, we are in on a short-term uptrend where we're going to be hunting these tops and the liquidity above. Now, if you look at oscillators, again, 4-hour and the daily is oversold in a big way. Expansion is oversold. EMAs are facing down in the bearish control zone. Are we in a perfect spot for a reversal? I say yes. However, as a point of interest, it is not really actionable unless you're willing to put a stop loss down here, which is fine, but based on risk to reward ratio, and accumulate within this range within a very, very tight range based on risk management, risk to reward. And as soon as we break this top, to trail up that stop loss into profit and see where the chart goes. If it breaks down, get out. Stop yourself out. Don't be a hero, because you saw what happens when the breaks of structure happen. It basically is a continuation to the downside, and anticipate more sell pressure. In the meantime, we will continue be looking for reversals here at this bottom on the 4-hour. That's all we could really do. There's signs of divergence, a bit of class C, nothing major, but a little bit, right? This is no divergence really at the current moment. It's convergence, but we got to be patient here. What I would love to see is what happens here on this market structure right here, right here. If we get a proper reversal, even on the 1-hour, right? Especially something that looks like this, maybe a bit of accumulation, sweep, come back up, accumulation, and then break. Okay, that's what I would love to see, guys. Something like this, obviously. Something like that. That would be amazing. And get in right here on the backtest confirmation. Guys, it is what it is. And if you happen to take a bigger perspective and put a stop loss, right? Make sure you put your stop loss. You can even accumulate on this wick. I know it requires a lot of conviction. It is what it is. But ultimately, if this becomes a rounded bottom where we break this top, guys, the next level is the next order block, which is at about 102. And that would be bullish. Really bullish. Why? Because if you look at the higher time frames, guys, again, getting back to 102, what does it look like? Coming back up here from 100 from here back to about 102, it looks pretty good. It starts to look like this. Right? From this sweep, a bit of consolidation, and then a nice pump to the upside. Guys, we have to speculate. Right now, it's time to be safe. However, it's time to gain some exposure because your risk to reward is on point based on the previous low. This invalidates everything. These bottoms, this imbalance, all this weakness below invalidates a lot here, guys. And be careful, because the next order block is pretty much at 64K, and that's where the point of control is at, and that's where we're going to be hunting liquidity next if we cannot sustain a reversal at this level. Guys, if I've offered you any value in this video, do the channel a massive favor. Slap the like button. It does really help out with the algorithm. If you want to follow me on the socials, the links are in the description. Better yet, guys, join the Discord. The Discord is where it's at. Lots of good alpha, trade setups, fundamentals, and learning material. The best part is it's absolutely free. Take care, guys. Have a good one. And don't forget, buy the dip.